Most business owners I talk to, whether they're in fitness, service, or coaching, they're all in the same boat. They're amazing at what they do. They care about their clients, they care about results, and they grind. But behind the scenes, it's chaos. There's no CRM, there's no clear KPIs, and there's no backend automations. No clarity on what's actually working. So they're reacting all day instead of leading. And that was exactly where Simon was when we first connected. He had the work ethic, he had the product, he had the credibility, he had the knowledge, but he was running completely blind, without systems, without structure, with no consistent cash flow, and it was very much showing. When we started talking, Simon wasn't sitting on some big war chest or marketing budget. He was literally pretty much in the red. Fast forward a couple months, negative $3,000 in the bank. But yet he was still showing up every day. He would still train clients between shifts. He would still film content at midnight just to keep things alive. And so he had what I would call the operator's curse. You care so much about what you're doing, about your craft, that you never step back to build the machining to let it grow. And that's when he came to me at Ardent GSI Systems. And we didn't start with any fancy, shiny funnels or ads. We started with just infrastructure and foundation, organically. We built the company from the ground up, literally: name, brand identity, logo, messaging, offer structure, systems, CRM, automation, sales process, client flow, all of it. We turned what was essentially a really talented one-man operation into a real business. And now OKIRU became more than just a cool brand name and logo. It became a real system, something that he could scale, automate, and lead, and become a business owner. Now the results speak for itself. So within a few months, Simon went from negative $3,000 in his account to generating $5,000 in MRR. And that's not just a financial turnaround, that's a complete mindset shift. So it was from a constant state of survival mode to now predictable, structured growth. So from how do I get clients this week to how do I figure out how to onboard them without burning out? From being inside the business every single hour of the day to now treating and running it like a CEO. We built a Skool community with now over 200 active members in it. And his backend system runs while he's training or sleeping. Leads get captured, leads get followed up with, tracked, tagged, and closed automatically. And for the first time, he's not waking up incredibly anxious, staring at his bank account. He's waking up organized. And that's the real transformation people overlook. It's not just about the money. It's about peace of mind. So what you're about to hear isn't a scripted ad or some influencer UGC highlight reel. It's just a conversation of us shooting the shit. It's a real story of what happens when a business owner stops guessing, stops winging it, and finally installs a real operational system. This is going to be the testimonial video from Simon, founder of OKIRU, and how I helped him go from negative $3,000 in debt to a fully automated, scalable business that now runs like a franchise. So let's dive in. Okay, so all right, so let's rewind for a sec before we ever connected. What did things actually look like for you behind the scenes?
Yeah, honestly, man, so I was juggling 2 part-time jobs, the minimum wage. I was starting to think about coaching, kind of looking for clients on the side, but it wasn't really anything serious to me because I just couldn't see a way how to make it really work. There was basically like zero structure behind it. You know, like having 2 clients is one thing, but then, you know, actually reaching out, actually finding clients, I didn't have any way to kind of gain leads efficiently. So it was mostly just based on luck. When it comes to money-wise, it was also pretty rough. That was just like less than paycheck to paycheck, basically just collecting debt.
That's valid. So what were you dealing with like day to day? Because I know at one point you were kind of in the red.
Oh yeah, well, day to day I was working like 12-hour jobs, but then at the same time I was getting like a house, apartment. So I was getting a house and also a car. I was paying off like just studies as well. So just so many fees that at the end of the day I would just end up with zero. But like money aside, the biggest problem was probably just burnout. Like after all the shifts, 12-hour shifts every day, I would just have no energy to actually work on what I want to work on, you know, the coaching.
Yeah, you had like no systems. So what kind of made you realize you need to, like, something had to change other than the burnout?
Yeah, well, honestly, I wanted to do the coaching, but I know how to teach. I'm an amazing teacher, I would say. But my problem was that I would see the coaching programs online and the coaches, but I didn't know how they set everything up. I didn't know how to go about it, you know? like I don't know what ManyChat is, or what a lead magnet is, or like how to gain leads. I don't know how ads work, and it is so kind of far away from my interests and coaching that I wanted to focus on teaching rather than all this that seemed just like a crazy amount of work that I wasn't sure if it even works.
That's valid. So there just wasn't a lot of structure, predictability, and you didn't really know what to do without systems. So then what kind of stood out about what I do / Ardent, and what kind of made you feel like this was different?
Yeah, well, so we met that one day, and then I told you my situation, and you basically answered in like one sentence. Oh, like simple, do this. It's like it's really not that not that much work. Just set this up, and that's it. I was like, oh, whoa, fuck! Like you made it sound so easy, and you clearly know your shit. But yeah, I still knew that I wouldn't really have time or just energy to get into it. So like, I thought getting help from you, since you already know everything about it, was just a better use of my time too.
Yeah, for sure. It's like it's the same thing as like delegation or arbitrage, right? Especially like people hire other people and then like they'll hire the wrong person, but it's like I was basically doing what you were doing, just you in the future. So in terms of specifics, like I guess walk people through what we actually built and then kind of what changed behind the scenes, because like we basically practically started from scratch. Like I know like basically we started like we helped, like we brainstormed and made your logo. Like that's how scratch we were starting,
Yeah. So first was we kind of put a more of an identity on my coaching. So the reason why I would get like views and people basically reaching out to me was because I had a certain unique style of coaching that was easily acceptable to people, but I didn't really play into or I wasn't very conscious of the methods that I was using or the way that I'm communicating with my audience, and sort of working on that branding with you, including logo, including just everything in between the lines, was to basically know who I am better, in a sense of like me and what my brand represents. Having that, it became kind of easier to work with, because for example the VSL or YouTube videos, everything, I was kind of less lost, so I knew what to focus on. Yeah, we work on VSL. We also set up the Skool from scratch, which was courses, which further kind of helped me compartmentalize on my theory and such. And yeah, so it not only kind of helped me gain new clients and help them, but also kind of helped me structure my coaching more. And then then we started the ManyChat and GHL, which further just kind of introduced all the automation to make my make everything so much smoother, right? Like,
what about the sales? Because I know that's something that you were amazing at.
Yeah, okay, so I suck at sales calls, right? Like, I gotta say, I still suck at sales calls, because
a lot better.
Yeah, it is better, but like it is fully on me. It's because, as I said before, like if there's something that's not teaching calisthenics, I really have a hard time committing to and just putting in the hours, even if the result of it is money, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like I now learned to like do better in calls, mostly because of the sheer volume that was thrown at me and kind of my own financial pressures. But yeah, like honestly, like I know that Adam set up like so many role plays, like groups, then sent like I think like 20 other role play groups.
And now you're an expert at setting. That's one of the biggest things as well. Because I know I reviewed a lot of your messages. I even made you like a bot at one point to help formulate the structure. And closing aside, like in terms of getting on the call, you're really solid now at setting. Originally, you would just give everybody free info, and then nobody would book a call. And then you realize nobody gets on a call, nobody's going to pay you money. So now you were able to convert that.
Yeah, because at first, like I didn't really take money for coaching at all, because I was doing everything for free as just a hobby. So and then I was stuck in that mindset even when I wanted to change it into coaching, and then it would kind of feel like, oh, if I've been doing this for free and I've been giving value for free, and how do I charge for this, and I didn't feel kind of like it's worthy.
It's like scarcity mindset. You didn't feel like justified in charging what you were worth, because you would also take like basically anything someone would give you, you know?
Yeah.
So then, besides numbers, what would you say is like the biggest shift since we, you know, built everything, since everything went live, you know?
Yeah, man. So seeing this as my business, you know, my little brainchild, rather than just a hobby on the side or just something that I wish one day I did. You know, there were some sacrifices. Like I quit one job, I reduced another to like 2 days, which like eventually, because of my lack of motivation, even despite having no money, like led me to zero.
Yeah.
But then when finally, after, you know, Adam's so many texts and voice memos,
Something finally clicked, eh?
I started, like, there was a mind shift where I started considering this like my business, something, you know, I love, and something that I can actually commit to, and from there, like, the motivation or that discipline became like way easier, you know.
Yeah, so roughly now you're closing in on 5K MRR, and that's fucking wild from where you started, because it's like a 2,000, I don't know actually the metric, but negative 3K at one point to almost 5K into profit. That's, I think, a 2,000% increase. I don't know, something like that. I'm not the best.
Yeah, man. It's funny you're saying that, because then I was like minus 3K on credit card, and I had minus like 200 on my debit somehow. I didn't even know that was possible.
Oh, well, they have the overdraft. I think that's like the peak that you could get. But so now that we have majority of things dialed in, and we have a lot of, you know, as I told you, you have to eat a lot of shit sandwiches, and a lot of people give up in business, and they give up too early because it's too hard, right? But now that, in essence, we're not at the finish line, but now that you have seen the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, and the light keeps going further away, and that's a good thing. But now that we have some type of consistency and structure, how does it feel knowing that you have this, and like we have the shit kind of to a certain extent dialed in?
It feels so crazy, man. Like, it doesn't feel real, because the other day I was talking to my girlfriend about, like, I was struggling like from paycheck to paycheck, and I had like zero on my account, right? But then in the 2 days in a row, like 2 past days, I made like $3,200 in like 2 days, right? And that's like a month of my 12-hour shifts, and it was just not making sense to me.
Like an epiphany moment, because I remember I had one of those days, like this was like 3 years ago. I made like $7,000 in a day, and it was surreal, because it's like, and that's kind of like, money doesn't solve all the problems. It does mitigate a lot of stress, you know. Especially like if you're cruising and you're making a consistent 10-20 grand a month, and you're like a solopreneur, you don't have to do anything. Unless you're crazy like me and you want to get to 7 figures because you like the game of business, you're not like that person. You don't need infrastructure. Well, you need infrastructure. You don't need to hire staff, you know, and employees. But yeah, it's kind of like a surreal moment where you go from paycheck, not even paycheck to paycheck. You were literally like working so much, like negative. And now you're like, I remember, like, what was it, yesterday? You're like, fuck it, I gotta order Uber Eats because I'm too busy. But I'm like, yeah, because you made enough money, you can fucking do that, right? So if someone's watching this, and they have the attention span longer than a squirrel, so if someone's watching this and they're sitting where you were a couple months ago, like, what would you tell them?
Okay, look, it's okay for you not to be like a business mind or a salesperson, because lucky for you, there's already people like Adam who do this for a living, right? So like, if you have someone who knows everything through and through and is ready to set it up for you, with you only having to record a few scripts, there's no reason for you not to do that, right? Like, you're saving so much time, so much effort, you're able to put more effort into, you know, your passion, and just see the magic happen, kind of. But you do need to put some trust in him.
Process. Well, I mean, ultimately, obviously, bro, like, we're just in essence getting started to a certain extent, because now that we have a lot of the stuff streamlined and organized, and there's reoccurring, the only thing from here is scaling. Well, it's not going to go down. Like, I haven't, like, in terms of my MRR, where once I hit like 10 grand a month, I never like went below that. I mean, some people do, but as long as you have the systems and you're consistent with those systems, then there's no reason to go down. So now it's just basically staying consistent or going up or staying, you know. So obviously I'm really proud of, there's a lot of stuff that we didn't get into, but from where we started to where we are now, and the stuff that we modified and shifted, it's just, I'm really proud and satisfied, honestly. Like, from how much was changed and where, like, there was a lot of bullshit. But anyways, to go from where you were to now you have like a systemized, profitable business, and you're like actually thinking like a business owner, you know, it's fucking awesome.